When it comes to building a custom scheduling application on Bubble.io, there are a few areas that you'll want to leverage effectively. A scheduling app has many parts to it, everything from custom calendar designs, managing availability, confirmations and cancellations, booking without conflicts, and so much more. I can tell you now that all of these features are absolutely possible on Bubble, but if you don't know where to go to accomplish them, you could end up lost or even missing out on important capabilities. In this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know to build a custom scheduling application on Bubble. Bubble is a full-stack platform where you can build a highly interactive, data-driven application without any code. Everything you need to create a real, scalable application falls under one roof. Your database architecture, your front-end designs, and all the logic in between to make things come to life. At the heart of any scheduling application is its calendar. This is how you visualize all of your data in a way that makes sense for your users. And in Bubble, there's many ways to accomplish this. The first place you'll want to look is the plugin marketplace. There's many options here. Everything from simple standard calendar designs where you can see things in a month, week, and day view, to more complex options that are typically going to be more customizable and have more interactive components to it. Some plugins may even help you with date and time manipulations to calculate things behind the scenes. Now, aside from the plugins, you can always create your own custom calendar just by using Bubble's own visual elements and by leveraging dynamic expressions to populate your designs. So whether you're using a kind of done-for-you, out-of-the-box solution from the plugin marketplace, or you want to craft every piece of your design custom to your own needs, you have the ability to do that in this platform. In this demonstration, we've created our own custom calendar design using a visual element Bubble has called the repeating group. We are using some plugins to help us generate the list of dates so that our custom design is calendar aware. It knows how many days in every month, for example. With this custom design, we're really in control of every aspect of the user's experience. Everything from what data populates each of the cells. We can pull from multiple data sources if we wanted. What happens when they click on a cell or a date or an event, and also the appearance properties. How do we want everything to look when maybe there's a conflict or a date is selected? Alongside your calendar, you'll also need a way to enter data. And this is really the bread and butter of the Bubble platform. Most of what you do is going to be data powered. And so you need really custom ways to capture information that's coming from your users and save it to your database. So Bubble has a lot of different input options and ways for you to organize your inputs into a form for users to make selections and type things in. So they can select a date and time, or maybe a date range for when they want their scheduled event to occur. They may need to select a single service or multiple resources to associate with their booking. When it comes to scheduling applications, you may even want to offer a predetermined list of time slot choices. With custom intervals, maybe every 30 minutes, every hour, with buffers taken into account. All of this is absolutely possible. It's just a matter of, number one, using the right type of input in order for the user to interact with, and then mapping that to the appropriate place in your database. That may involve some manipulation of your data, some transformation, calculations, but again, all of this is absolutely within the possibilities of this platform, especially for a scheduling app. One of the most common questions we get about scheduling apps in Bubble is whether it's possible to manage custom availability as well as blocked dates and times. This is really common with any kind of scheduling system, right? Let's say you have a rental property and the property owner wants to be able to block out specific dates, or let's say that there is a salon and multiple stylists within that salon should be able to set up their own working hours. I mean, this can really be applied to any type of system where bookings are involved and dates and times are involved. So this all really comes down to how you organize your data structure. It's up to you to create the right tables and fields and just relationships between everything to store those preferences from the user. That way somebody can come in and say, okay, on Mondays, I'm available from 8 to 3, on Tuesdays from 12 to 4. And the level of granularity, again, it's up to you. It's up to whatever you want to store in the database and then leveraging that information in your logic on the front end so that you can allow specific flows to go through or maybe not go through. When it comes to availability and blocked dates and conflict resolution, it's a matter of addressing conditions. So you're going to set up various conditional scenarios to handle all of these different possible flows. But it all starts with a database. So as long as you set up the right fields in order to capture the information you need, you can then manipulate that info to create the right experience on the front end. By the way, if any of this has been helpful so far, our Fast Track course teaches how to leverage Bubble vastly more in depth. Folks who are wanting to build their apps correctly on Bubble by following fully self-led, structured videos have found it useful. If this sounds like it would be useful for you as well, head over to coachingnocodeapps.com/fast-track to check it out. When you're booking something on a calendar, especially if there are multiple people involved, you may want to send notifications, not just as a confirmation, but also a heads up if it's coming up soon, right? A little reminder, maybe a follow-up after the event has occurred, or even a notification that something has changed or has been canceled and needs to prompt a rescheduling. There are many ways to accomplish this kind of notification system in Bubble. You can either send an email, you can send a text message, you can even create an in-app notification system so that users who are frequently coming into the app can see a history of all of the confirmations and notifications that are coming in one place. So with email, Bubble has a lot of built-in capabilities. There's actually a built-in connection to SendGrid as the email service provider. You can, of course, white label the sending domain so that it is coming from your own custom domain. And you can use your own service provider if you'd like. If you want to connect to a different one that you prefer, you can use a plugin to help you with that or a custom API connection. Bubble is very extensible, so as long as the service that you want to leverage offers an API, you should be able to connect to it. And so sending out an email to confirm things, for example, allows you to populate that email with, a date and time, a link to a map, a summary of what's going to happen during that event, whatever it might be. Now you can also send text messages, and with text messages, you will have to connect to a third-party service to send out that message. A popular one that a lot of bubblers like to use is Twilio. So you'll set up an account with them, get an API key, and again, either use a plugin. There's many plugins out there for Twilio to help you get set up quite quickly, or you can use your own custom integration using Bubble's API connector tool. But that way you can send text messages with these reminders and confirmations. Of course, you can create an in-app notification system. So this is really just leveraging your own database, right? So setting up a table that keeps track of all of the different confirmations or alerts that users need to be able to access. And I do want to mention that Bubble has a very powerful backend workflows area where you can schedule things to run at a future date and time. So if you want to schedule a reminder to go out, let's say an hour before an event has occurred, or maybe 24 hours before, you can do that, right? A user does not have to be present on a page in order for that email to be sent. They don't have to click on a button. You can set up logic to schedule things to happen. You can also set up recurring logic. So let's say that you have a weekly team meeting and everybody needs to be reminded of it every single week. You can set that up as well, so that it recurs kind of indefinitely, or if you want to create some rules there so that, at a certain point it stops sending out those notifications. You can allow users to customize whether they want to receive that reminder or not. A lot of this really, again, just comes down to the database and how you create your logic to look at what values are there and what relationships people have to your other records. Now, you might be wondering, how can I sync my Bubble application with popular third-party calendars that my users may already be working with, such as Google Calendar or Outlook? Well, this all comes down to API connections. So I know Bubble's plugin marketplace offers several plugin options for connecting to Google and Outlook, get you up and running quite quickly. But if there's a service you want to work with that doesn't have a plugin in the marketplace, as long as they offer an API, you should be able to connect to it. And you can use Bubble's API connector tool for those custom integrations. So an integration with a third-party calendar just really comes down to using it as an extra data source. Your database is one of your primary data sources in your app. You may have inputs designed on your page. That's another data source. People are typing in, making selections. A third-party connection is just another data source that you can leverage within your logic for all of your scheduling flows. Another popular feature that we typically see with scheduling apps is payments. Oftentimes booking a service or a resource of some kind may involve a deposit or sending out an invoice, maybe even setting up a subscription of some kind. This can be set up in a one-to-one type of situation where everybody who is booking or reserving or scheduling is making payments directly to you. Or you can set up a marketplace system where your primary users are your service providers, your sellers, and then they have customers that go to them. They can make payments to them. You can take a fee out of that, or maybe it goes directly to you and then you can pay out those sellers. A lot of different ways to set up those flows, but you will need to integrate with a payment gateway to actually process those transactions. Bubble doesn't have that capability out of the box. So a really popular one is Stripe, PayPal, of course. And once that's layered in, it's really just a matter of, infusing it into your logic to determine when you want to, process a charge or collect a credit card, send out an invoice, send somebody to a payment page. Lots of different options here, but this is absolutely possible. So when it comes to building custom scheduling apps in Bubble, it's really important to find the right data structure and to find the right balance between integrations and custom builds. All right, I hope this was helpful. And if it was, the content you're about to see on the next screen will help you take things even further.